This is the Motorola Defy review, and Motorola Defy has just been released on Telecom XT. Its retail price is $799. It's an Android 2.2 standard device, and it's got an 800 MHz processor in there. So we'll take a quick look around the device. It's a Gorilla Glass display, 3.7 inches, and capacitive buttons down the bottom there. On the top, you've got your power button, which is unfortunately a little bit clicky. It kind of moves around a bit, and there's also a cover over the 3.5mm jack. As we look around the other side, you've got the screw holes there, making it quite an industrial looking device, and there's the volume rocker there. There's a screw on the bottom, also a way of making sure that it's locked in place, and there's a rubber surround in there as well, so again keeping it nice and waterproof. There's the flash, the 5 megapixel camera. Disappointed with the camera, we'll talk more about that later. And then if we look on the other side of the device, there's a cover over the USB connector there as well. So you know, one of the great things about this device is that it's kind of life-proof, splash-proof, and we've seen it even immersed in water and it's still come across okay. So it's one of those things that you probably want to buy if you're looking for a rugged sort of device. Let's compare it with some of the other devices that are around. This is the iPhone 3GS, and you'll notice that that's a 3.5-inch screen, and you've got a bit more screen real estate there, certainly up and down, but if you look here you'll find that it's slightly smaller, just ever so slightly smaller than the 3.5-inch screen there on the iPhone. And then if you look at it compared to something with a 4-inch screen, this is the Xperia X10A. Also on Telecom, and you'll find there with the X10 that 4-inch screen is quite a little bit bigger, but also the fact that they've made it about the same size width-wise as what the iPhone is, which makes the keyboard and portrait mode certainly easier to use. That's what I find one of the frustrating things about this device. However, it's nice and light. It is a little bit thicker than what you find on your normal phone. However, having that splash-proof ability is probably quite a good thing. One of the things that we noticed with this device is when we got it stock and it had its stock wallpaper on there, it was nice and you could flick between all the pages. There was no real lag there, but you can see that there is a little bit of lag there now that it's got the Maps wallpaper there in the background. So that's one of the things that you kind of have to consider when you're looking at this device as to what you're going to run in the background, just to make sure that it doesn't bog the device down. That 800 MHz processor, of course, it's one of the newer 800 MHz processors, so it's going to perform reasonably well. One of the things that we didn't like about the device was the way that Moto Blur took over the device and takes over particularly the mail application. Most people will just be using standard pop mail, but we use the Exchange server, and the Exchange server implementation inside of this device is flawed. We found that when we tried to sync with corporate mail, it just wouldn't accept our settings for the Exchange server, and we had to revert to installing a stock standard Android mail application on the phone, and we would have liked to have seen that implemented from the start. However, Motorola like to change things, and they've taken something that worked quite well and turned it into something that just doesn't work at all. It's got standard applications obviously for Android 2.2, but again they've taken some things out of it, such as the alarms are in a different place. They've got their own little section there, and the mobile hotspot is taken out of the settings menu in Android and now given its own little application there. Some will like that, others who use Android 2.2 will go searching for some of the things that they're missing. You can download all the applications from the market, and obviously being on 2.2 with a reasonably high resolution screen, you'll be able to download most of the applications that are there, and it does play Flash out of the box as well. We'll take a look at that in a minute. Some people are interested in the quadrant benchmark test, and we did a benchmark just before, and you'll see that it's sitting there just where you'd expect it to be. It's about sitting there with the Droid and below some of the 2.2 devices like the Nexus 1 right up the top there, but above the Galaxy S, which no doubt that benchmark was running 2.1. I think it performs a bit better on 2.2. So overall the benchmarks, we were reasonably happy with the device and the benchmarks. You see it's just got the notification there for the emails, and that works very well. Also, some of the things that you'll find have been customised is when you're switching between home screens, you'll notice that this comes up down the bottom, and I found that a little bit intrusive because it makes things disappear down the bottom. So you've got to wait for a second or two for your menu buttons to reappear, and also for your phone button to reappear as well. This dialer is just your standard kind of Android dialer. There's nothing special about that, and when we installed the standard email application, it was pretty much the standard one there as well. So all in all, we found those implementations to be not too bad, and as I say, the phone performs reasonably well. One of the things we were disappointed with was the camera, and you probably can't see it here, but it waves a little bit in terms of just when you're looking at the phone itself and about to take the picture, and that actually transfers through to the photos as well. So again, just a bit disappointed by that, and also the fact that it doesn't have HD video, even though it's got a 5 megapixel camera. Again, that was kind of a disappointing thing for us with this phone. We'll go to the browser now and just have a bit of a look. The browser is stock standard kind of Android browser, but what you can do obviously with this browser is you can use Flash. So if we just go to TVNZ on demand, and there it is there, we'll do a wee search for it and then we'll go straight there. What you can do is obviously look at those Flash-based in-browser videos, and we've found that this works really well on the Android-based devices. So the Big Bang Theory is there. We can click the button, and if we move it through to landscape mode, it will start reasonably quickly. We're on 3G here, and we like the implementation of Flash and the way that they've put it together on this device. Obviously the latest Flash is 10.3, it comes standard with 10.1, but you can obviously download the update, and you can expand that out to full screen as well. One of the things that you can't do with this on some of the New Zealand sites is the TV3 on demand site for some reason won't expand out to full screen properly, but the TVNZ applications seem to install just fine and allow you to go out to full screen if you push the button in the right place, which I'm obviously not doing. But you can see that it works, and it's a little bit laggy, but it's not too bad. So we're pretty happy with the implementation of Flash on the device, and it just adds a little bit extra to it. I think it makes it a little bit more of a premium sort of device. Text messaging is handled in the normal way, and obviously if you're buying this straight from Telecom, it's going to have all the settings that you'll need in the device without any problems at all. Facebook has obviously got really good integration with Android, so Facebook and Twitter both have pretty good implementations, and the gallery application on this phone is one of the I think one of the older sort of gallery applications. For me, it's not quite as nice as some of the ones that we've seen, which has just been a little bit more animated, and again with that sort of disappointing camera and no HD video, we're kind of a little bit ho-hum with the whole video scenario on this device. All in all, I've got to say that I am a bit disappointed with it. I wanted to see the screen a bit bigger on the diagonal, certainly make it a bit wider, because when you've got the keyboard up, it certainly is, I think, a little bit on the small side. The brightness of the screen is good, the resolution of the screen is good, and we obviously like the fact that it's a life-proof device, and you can spill things on it, and it's not going to cause you too much grief. So that's the real advantage, and that's probably the only reason that you would go for this phone over some of the others that are available at the moment. The price of $799 is a little more expensive than some of the devices which are also in that range of an 800 to 1 gigahertz processor. So we would certainly recommend you look around. If you're not after something that's got those life-proof features, you can probably find better features, better cameras, and better implementation on other devices. However, if you're looking for a rugged phone, this certainly does seem to fit the bill. So that's it, the Motorola Defy. It's available on Telecom XT and available at the price of $799.